We're going to look at what's called the political spectrum. And what a spectrum is just a range from one extreme to another. So we're going to look at a range of political views. And um, you can look at a million of these and they'll give you a different explanation. So what we're going to basically look at is a spectrum that's based on how accepting a group is to change. And so we're going to look from left to right. And if you'll notice on the far left you have the radicals, and as we move right we get our liberals, and then in the center we get the moderates, and then on the right side you have conservatives, and then you have reactionaries. And really what we're looking at is radicals on the left are the far extreme on the left side, and the reactionaries we're going to say are on the far right. And so radicals, and when we're talking about change, over on the left-hand side, the political left embrace change. The political right does not like change. And so when we look at a radical, they want change, and they really want change at all cost. So some groups in our history that we can look at would be the women's rights movement and the Founding Fathers. The Founding Fathers wanted change so bad that they were willing to fight the Revolutionary War to start their own government. That would be a radical idea for that period of time. Women wanting to get the vote for their time period, the 1800s and the early 1900s, when they really started gaining momentum and doing a lot of things, they were considered a radical group. You just didn't do the things that they were doing. These women were had no rights. They, if there was a divorce or anything, the husband with the children, they couldn't sit on juries. I mean, they just really had no rights whatsoever. So them doing the things that they did were very radical ideas for that particular time. Liberals want change, but they're willing to do it through the political process. Someone you should associate with this in our history, once again, would be Martin Luther King Jr. They fought for change, they fought for civil rights, but they did it in a peaceful way. They practiced how to do this actually in a peaceful way. So they wanted to use the process, and they didn't want to violate the law and break the law. Going to just kind of skip over moderates, but they're in the center. And most people here in the United States stay very, very close to the center. On some issues, they'll go to the right or they'll go to the left. But for the most part, most people hang around in that center. They don't have crazy radical or reactionary ideas. When we get to the right of center, just to the right, conservatives, they would like to keep things the same. A lot of your religious Christian, your mainstream Christian evangelicals, not your reactionaries, not the extremes, but I'm talking your average person. We're talking about extending rights, even to women and blacks and homosexuals. That's not something that they would embrace. They would rather keep things the way they are. We don't need any additional rights. Everything is fine. You know, it's not like they necessarily want to discriminate, but they just think that everything is fine the way it is. And then the reactionaries are the extreme right. They don't like things the way they are. They would actually like to go back. And so you hear the term radical being thrown around a lot when we talk about Islamic extremists. And they're not radicals. What they are is reactionaries. They are fighting change with everything they have. As Westerners, we go over to these Middle Eastern countries and we try to change them and try to tell them that our way is better, that you need to extend rights to women and you need to extend rights to all these people. And they are fighting that with everything that they have. They not only don't want to go forward, they would rather go backwards to an earlier time. Another organization that you could associate reactionary with is the Ku Klux Klan. Once again, they are not about moving forward and embracing this idea of change, but it's really let's go back to an earlier time. And then we have extremists, obviously, that are on the far right and the far left, someone who falls to the extreme right or left in politics. And once again, radicals, and I just kind of went through that. They are on the far left, the women's suffrage movement, Founding Fathers. And then when we get to the far right, we're looking at the KKK, and we're looking at Islamic extremists. So just make sure that you understand the difference between all of these on the political spectrum.